talking about who is the GOAT, it's going to be a forever topic because so many people have different opinions and there's so many legends that dominated their time when they were in the NBA, but we didn't even get to see them on live television. That's why some people say Kareem is the GOAT, while other people say Jordan's the GOAT. We just go by what we see at the time. And at this point, there's a lot of people that haven't even seen Michael Jordan play on live television. So of course, some people is going to say LeBron is the GOAT or Kobe. But that's what makes the GOAT debate fun, because people get to argue what they've seen with their own two eyes. So why not listen to 15 legends who are actually in the league pick who's the GOAT? So before we get straight into that, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for the culture so you won't be missing any of my videos. And let's get to the event, man.
I'm just going to say this. Any media person that I see in person for the rest of my life who try to tell me LeBron James is good as Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of him right on the spot. Right on the damn spot. No question asked. The next person who walks up to me and say, LeBron James, who is amazing, as good as Michael Jordan, or competes like Michael Jordan, I'm just going to slap the hell out of you right on the spot. And I'm going to take my chances with the judicial system.
Michael Jordan, and yet it bothers you when people talk about him as being the greatest player of all time.
Well, it bothers me because we all have our opinions, and I don't think that, commensurate with what he's doing, what he's done, and how the game is going today, that he's better than Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Bill Russell, a number of people.
5-10 years ago, it was always who's greater, who's going to be the greatest, him or Jack, and that conversation is pretty much over to most people.
I beg to differ, and I'll give a different analogy to that because, first of all, you're never going to say who's the greatest of all time. To me, I think that's more for PR and more for selling stories and getting hype. Jack and Tiger never played against each other. They never played in the same tournament. They never played with the same equipment. They never played with the same, length of golf course. I never played against Will Chamberlain. I never played against, Jerry West. To now say that, one's greater than the other is being a little bit, unfair, I think when you can see the similarities and you understand, this is one way you can judge the two. How much impact did each change or evolve the game? Jack during his time when he played, or Tiger during his time. Now, obviously Jack won more during the time he played. Tiger evolved it to where it was, it crossed a lot of different boundaries, where it's not just a white guy's sport, the black guys, Afro-American, all the minorities play the game. And you play at a level to where it generated so much interest financially that it grew the game from a financial standpoint. Now, does that constitute him being the greatest, or does that mean he's any less than Jack? I think it's unfair. Yeah, Jack probably has 18 majors than Tiger's got 14. And I think those are when, that's how people are judging certain things. I won 6 championships. Bill Russell won 11. Does that make Bill Russell better than me and make me better than him? No, because we play at different eras. So when you try to equate who's the greatest of all time, it's an unfair parallel. It's an unfair choice. And I think, those are the demons that, obviously Tiger had to live with. And he's going to be challenged and he's going to be graded upon that. But for me, I think they're both great. I would never say one is greater than the other. That's me. That's my opinion.
Okay.
What do you think?
Fine. I'm the best. Michael's second best.
I'd like to say congratulations to Chicago also. Michael Jordan is truly the greatest of our time. No other athlete could have done what he did this year, sustaining his concentration despite doing everything that he wanted to do with all the distractions. Just great performance by Michael Jordan.
Our resident legend, Isaiah Thomas, says, you are the greatest basketball player of all time. Is that true?
I don't think there's any way that we can determine who the greatest player of all time is. I saw so many of the guys in your piece that you just ran, and none of them saw Wilt Chamberlain play. Someone who averaged 50 points a game, scored 100 points in one game. They have no idea of what he did, how he did it. They didn't see Bill Russell strangle the league for 11 championships. They didn't see any of that. So, their perspective is limited. And I think that each era has had great players that you cannot deny their accomplishment or their ability to help their team win. It's an impossible thing to figure out. So I don't waste a whole lot of time talking about it, but we do have to have this conversation because it's something that people wonder about. LeBron and Michael were just such spectacular athletes, and I think that's more about what they're talking about.
Do you care where you're ranked all the time?
No, I don't care. I made my money. I got my fans. People understand what I did. If they don't appreciate it, it's okay.
It feels like you're underrated.
I am underrated, but that's okay.
Are you the best big man of all time?
Possibly. But I'm not the most successful. Bill Russell was the most successful, and he understood how to make his team win. 11 world championships in 13 years. Beat that, Michael Jordan. LeBron is not going to come close. Come on.
Are you better than Jordan?
I'm not better than him, but I was at least as effective as he was. And I think the effect that you have on the game is how you should be judged. Bill Russell affected games. You couldn't get a shot near the basket.
I know.
He terrorized everybody for 13 years.
Listen, because of Michael Jordan, you've seen a lot of other players, right? Mm-hmm. Me, every time I hear these discussions, I always shut people up. Because what I do, I always give it up to the guys before me, right? Like they say, oh, you're this, you're that. So no, Wilt was the most dominant. Yeah. Michael Jordan was the greatest player. Magic was the greatest point guard. Charles and Karl Malone were the greatest point guards. That's it. Everybody else that come afterwards, they're just copycats.
Does LeBron have to do something, or can he do something where you would go, now I would look at him as the best player?
No, I think he certainly, just off the cuff, he's certainly the top 5 of all time. But playing against him and MJ, I think for me it's MJ all day long, only because how I played against him, and MJ just had everything, from mid-range to 3-point to post-up game, and he could score and dominate in each position. LeBron is dominant. LeBron could do so many things on the floor.
Do you think LeBron's a better all-around player than Jordan?
It's hard. That's hard to say because LeBron is probably one of the best passers that the league has seen. MJ is probably the weakest part of his game. He didn't pass a lot, but at the same time, MJ didn't have any other weaknesses in his game. And defensively, he was a two-way player. Defensively, he was incredible and just as dominant.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my honest answer. I never get this question again. There's really no comparison. Michael Jordan played in an era where the game was different. It was being refereed different than what LeBron is playing in. LeBron plays a different role than what Michael played as a player. In all fairness to Michael, he was never asked to do the things that LeBron do for his team. He had a lesser role. And statistically, that's why you're seeing LeBron numbers are far better than Michael Jordan's numbers in terms of what he do throughout the whole game, because we didn't utilize Michael to do things that the Cavs utilized LeBron for. So the comparison is unfair. They play different positions. I know a lot of times we love answering that question because we want to hear the storylines behind it, but the truth of the matter is it's not a fair comparison to LeBron or Michael. One guy is considered a two guard and one guy is considered a small forward, and they definitely are great in their era. They're both the greatest in their era, but to say who is the greatest, we would never know that. I mean, in my eye, Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest basketball player, but Michael and LeBron should never be really compared because it's almost like comparing Kareem to me. So that wouldn't be fair.
Everybody's getting autographs this weekend, but the best collection belongs to one of the top 50 players of all time, Clyde Drexler. You have a lot of fun.
Hey, this is like being a kid in a candy store. I've been an avid NBA fan for many, many years. And this occasion is one of the most historic occasions in the history of the NBA. 'Cause I'm having a great time.
What's your most prized autograph?
Well, the greatest of all times. He's right here in front of me. Signed a couple of my books for my young children, and I couldn't be happier.
Who do you think out of the guys from your generation? Do you think Moses was probably the most underrated?
Moses is the most underrated because, Kareem is the greatest. I mean, in terms of centers all time, Kareem is the number one guy. In terms of players all time, Kareem is still the number one guy. He's the guy you got to start your franchise with because you get 20 years. You get 20 years and you get leadership, you get excellence in terms of offensively and defensively, figuring things out, and accomplishment. I mean, his numbers speak volumes. And just because he had a bad attitude, there are a lot of people who disrespect him, but he never had a bad attitude with me. And, I met him back in 1970, and I don't think there's ever been a more potent weapon to step on a basketball court than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
There wouldn't be no Hall of Fame Allen Iverson standing at this podium if it wasn't for this guy. He gave me the vision, man. And, you want to be fast like Isaiah, and you want to shoot like Bird, rebound like Barkley, pass like Magic, be dominant like Shaq. But, man, I wanted to be like Mike. You know what I mean? I remember the first time I played against him. And I walked out on the court, and I looked at him, and for the first time in my life, a human being didn't look real to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if y'all watch the Chappelle Show, but he talked about a certain incident where somebody seen Rick James. And, like, I literally seen his aura. It looked like he was glowing. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, like, man, that's Mike. And I'm looking at him. I can't stop looking at him. Like, I'm looking at his shoes. And I'm like, man, he got on the Jordans. You know what I mean? The best player you've ever played against?
Against? Well, it depends on what you're looking for in a player. If I had to pick one player to start a franchise,
Yes.
and I want to win championships, no one would ever guess. I've asked people that question they ask, and none of them ever guess who I would take. And if you take a guess who you think I would take.
Of all time in the history
Of all the
game?
players in the history of the game.
Wilt?
No.
Russell.
You're right. Bill Russell. Bill Russell won 11, I think, 13 years championship every year. And the year he didn't win a championship, he was hurt. I mean, the guy was just incredible. And think about it, see, people look at the score, look at statistics, see.
Yeah.
And Russell's statistics wasn't that bad because never didn't take shots. He was shooting a high percentage because most of his shots were dunks inside the key. And the guy is incredible. I mean, the way he played, And people were just shocked. They said, Russell, and they just look at the stats and see the guy there 12, 13 points a game. Sure. But look at the intangible things. Hey, he's going to save you 30, 40 points.
I think when you put the greatest of all time right at the top of the list, Michael Jordan combined some elements that I haven't seen in a basketball player. The totality of his game is enormous. Because Michael had that swagger, he had that killer look in his face. Someone who I greatly admire.
A couple years ago, after we won the championship, you said, look at his face. You said.
See, everyone saw me crying like that was all for 52 years. Everything in sports was going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. But everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, it was the greatest team ever assembled. And for us to come back, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, you did something special.
I viewed it as a moment of maturity, right? Like, why is it that you took a step back in that moment? Not saying that you changed your mind or any of that.
Because I realized that the conversation is going to continue to happen no matter what. And it's great for the game.
Yeah.
It's great for the barbershops. It's great for the game. It's going to continue to happen. I don't know why. The one thing I don't understand is, like, you know, you never hear, you know, the greatest quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Always talked about. You never hear, like, who's the greatest quarterback, you know, Brady or Montana.
Yeah.
You know, you got Montana with 5, you got Brady with 6.
Yeah.
You know, or you know, you used to hear the Peyton and Brady thing when they played, but, you know, Brady started to win a lot more and things of that nature. But you never hear, like, every single conversation.
Even baseball.
Every
baseball.
single
It's like Babe Ruth, and then people just move on.
Right, they just
It's
move
like,
on.
No more arguments.
Right,
Babe
no
Ruth
more
is the greatest
arguments.
baseball player.
Right, exactly. You know, so, you know, and well, other sports, hockey, you hear Wayne Gretzky.
That's
you know,
it.
people move on.
You haven't heard anything since.
Yeah, you move on. Wayne Gretzky is the greatest. You move on. There's, you know, things of that nature. But, you know, the conversation is going to always be had, and it's great for debates because they want to compare eras. They want to compare players and who they've seen.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And you can see that even NBA legends have different opinions. And some of them don't even think there should be a GOAT. So comment down below who's your GOAT and why. And make sure you like, share, subscribe, and show love to the YG gang. And I'm out.